All right, welcome to Sports Talk, being joined now by John. And John, things can't get any worse for Mississippi State, right?
Well, Marcus, at about, I think around 8:40 Central Time on Saturday night was the exact time that we learned the news that quarterback Blake Shapen will be having shoulder surgery that would end his season. I believe he's already had the surgery. He was in a sling today, talking with the teammates, being a good teammate, all that stuff, whatever. The point is, the Bulldogs have a true freshman quarterback in Michael Van Buren, who will start for them this Saturday on the road at number 1 Texas.
My only thing that I'm disappointed about Van Buren is the fact that he wears number 0. He should have worn number 8 for the 8th president, Martin Van Buren. That would have been the perfect number.
He was the 8th president. Okay.
He was the 8th president.
Wow, before Lincoln.
Yeah, before Lincoln, yeah.
Okay, you're the history buff. All right.
I know a little bit of something, but that would have been cool if he were number 8, but he's number 0. Hopefully that's not an omen of what's to come, because the Bulldogs need to get some SEC wins, but probably not against number 1.
Yeah, and gosh, there's so many avenues to go with this one, man. It stinks for Blake Shapen, who, by the way, they are going to work to get him a medical hardship so he can come back next year. Based on what Jeff Lebby said today, it sounds like that's going to be an option for him to come back next season. He'll support him. But, here's Van Buren. He was 7 of 13 for 100 yards. He came in garbage time. Let's face it. It was, in fact, garbage time against Florida. He's a true freshman. He's from Baltimore. I can't break down his game that much for you, Marcus. I know that he can move out of the pocket pretty well, and I know that when he was in high school, he was a decent prospect. I saw some of his, whatever they call it, those quote-unquote all-star Gatorade games, whatever that was, saw some of them, made some impressive throws. Let's face it, you can't compare that to the gauntlet that is the SEC. And not just the SEC, the number 1 team in the nation. Texas has given up just 22 points this year. State's offensive line has struggled. The offense has struggled. And we don't even need to talk about how abysmal their defense is yet. It's going to be a lot to ask to request for this true freshman guy. Hey, go into Austin, go play against the number 1 team, and go play against, this atmosphere that has over 100,000 fans.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are already a plus 35-point underdog in this game.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
Nuts.
That right there goes to show you just the little amount of respect that they have for Mississippi State, or the national public has, or Vegas has for Mississippi State in this particular game. But Van Buren, watching the game from the sideline Saturday, there were some things I did like about his play.
Extended some plays.
Yeah, extended some plays, showed some poise in the pocket. He was able to take a few hits and got back up. He's a freshman, and like you said, it was garbage time, and it was, Mississippi State trying to make some kind of a miraculous comeback there at the end, which they weren't able to pull off. But the fact that he came in and, led the team to a touchdown drive, and he also threw for 100 yards, I think that can give him a little bit of confidence going into the Texas game, because it was against an SEC opponent. He got to see a little bit of the speed of the game when they're out there. Now, I know in Texas things are going to be a little faster, but hopefully that this is not too much for the kid, because it's one of those situations where you could have a young player going against a team like Texas and get run over, and then that basically ruins his confidence moving forward.
No doubt, man. And honestly, you hope that doesn't happen, but at the same time, Lebby also said that Chris Parson will play a little bit. But based on your point right there, it's hard for someone's confidence to not get ruined when you're playing against a team of that caliber. So hopefully, for his sake, that this doesn't crush his confidence. He goes out there, he's a winner. Maybe, put together some nice drives, maybe keep State competitive for a little bit. You don't want to ask too much, but I'll be interested to see, what it looks like. But let's face it, the reason that people are so excited to see what this kid's got is because this team, 4 games in, 1-3, has looked horrible. Yeah. And a reason they've looked horrible is the defense. They've given up over 27 points per first half in the last 3 games. 41 points to Toledo. You talk about, okay, well, it's probably going to be Arch Manning starting at quarterback over Quinn Ewers. But with this State defense, I hate to say it, Marcus, it doesn't matter which quarterback's out there. We just saw him standing on the sideline together. We saw Graham Mertz look like a Heisman candidate for Florida, for a Florida team who might lose their coach. And they're desperately, underachieving this team. So that's the big problem, man. The defense, abysmal, and it doesn't matter who they're playing at quarterback. I know last week Arch, I forgot what cupcake opponent they had, but he had like 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, whatever. Against State's defense, the unfortunate thing for Coleman Hutzler and Jeff Lebby is no matter who they've played, it's looked bad. Yeah, it has looked bad. But in all those touchdowns that Florida scored in that game, the passing touchdowns, the receivers were wide open. So hopefully they can get things together with the defense. But I will remind State fans of this. A few years ago, Will Rogers comes in as a freshman
after an injury, and then goes on to be one of the best passing quarterbacks in Mississippi State history. So there is some history there that shows this could work out for the Bulldogs. We'll see.
We'll see, man.
All right, thank you so much, John. And Ashley has your weather after the break.